Hi yogis, this is Cole Chance from YOGATX, and just want to let you know a few things before we get going, that I'm going to be having new videos coming out every Tuesday. So if you want to make sure to catch those, hit subscribe, like, and we'll make sure to get those to you as soon as they come out. Also, if you check out our website at yogatx.org, we're going to start to do some 1-hour flows for a small fee, and that just helps us be able to produce the shorter free videos for you all as well. So please, if you can and would like to support us in that way, that would be very beneficial and appreciated. Today, we're going to do some yoga for strength. So we do a lot of the stretching and getting the flexibility. So now today we're going to work on some poses that work on flexibility with strength, which is one of the best ways to gain strength. So let's get started. Let's start at the top of our mat. So hips width distance apart with your feet. And sometimes we think that our hips are wider than they are. They're not. So you're thinking about your hip bones, not maybe how wide your hips are. So hip bones, and they're about 2 fist width. So you can put those down and kind of measure there. And go ahead and come up. So let's start from the bottom up. We'll just build a strong mountain pose because this is more than just standing here. So let's rock back and forth and side to side and start to feel your base, start to feel your root, because everything will come up from there. You can flex your toes back towards you, and that will start to engage your shins as well. So feel all 4 corners. Start to feel that strong base. If you have a tendency to roll your arches in or flat arches, really think about you're wanting to keep that arch. So if it helps to really connect the outer arch, you can that's something that you need to think about. So you want to lift on the inside here. So we'll all be different in the way that our feet are. So you'll need to think about rolling out towards your pinky toe, and that'll maintain that lift for you. Shins are engaged. Kneecaps come up, which would also engage your thighs. Belly in. Ribs connect. Now let's roll our shoulders big onto our back. When we do that, my ribs will come out, and then I'll bring them back in. So we're wanting to get both of those actions. Shoulders back, ribs in, palms forward. Everything's engaged here. So this will be our mountain pose. This is a little more difficult than when we were just standing here. So inhale and release. And we'll inhale, arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. So with a flat back and coming down to the ground. Drop your head. Shake your head. No. Yes. Releasing your neck. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Shoulder blades onto your back so your elbows going up towards the ceiling. Take a slight bend in your knees. Turn your gaze forward and come up with a flat back. And come up to standing. And then exhale here. And we'll inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold forward with a flat back, micro bend in your knees. And this time, halfway lift. Hands on your shins. So in your halfway lift, we have a flat back, belly towards the spine, shoulders still on the back. And release. Let's place our hands on our hips, elbows up towards the sky, shoulder blades onto the back. Lift your gaze. Come all the way up on an inhale and exhale. Release your hands And an inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, let's plant our hands, step back with our left foot, big step back. So we'll be in a low lunge here. So you can kind of find some buoyancy here. And start to feel some opening in your quad and your hip flexors. So feel that buoyancy, and you can shift back and forth on your hands as well, just to kind of open up there. If you have any knee problems, it's good to maybe double your mat or put a blanket underneath. We'll do a couple things on our knees here. Okay, so let's come back to center. Let's drop our back knee. You can keep your toes tucked or untucked. That'll be up to you in these. So let's pull back on our right hip. If that cue works for you, then that's perfect. You can also think about pulling your right heel back towards your left leg. So it'll be the same action. And that's gonna bring us up out of our hips, because we won't be flaying open to the left. That'll bring us up out of our hips. We'll engage our core, pulling it to our spine, and lift up. Let's place our hands on our knees here. So I'm pulling back on my right hip, right heel. That's keeping me centered here. And then from square hips, I can start to come a little bit more forward and get into this left side. And I'm feeling really stable here because I'm engaged. You can also pull up on the pelvic floor, and that helps engage your core as well. Placing your hands on your knees, let's push away. This will be a slight back bend. And coming forward. Place your hands on the ground. Lift your back knee. Step back up. Inhale, halfway lift. Keep your belly in. And exhale, fold. Step back with our right leg. So again, finding some buoyancy, doing some shifting from hand to hand or rocking back and forth. Just kind of beginning to wake up those muscles. And then let's come down with our right knee. So again, tucked back foot or untucked, whichever is preferable to you. It kind of places you on a different part of your knee. So whichever one is more comfortable for you. I think I like it better with my toe tucked. Today, at this moment anyway. Okay. So I'm coming really far forward here, getting a good stretch, but I'm flaying open to the right. So I'm going to pull up on my pelvic floor, engage my core, and pull my left thigh and energetically my left heel back towards my right. So I'm pulling this way, scissoring my thighs is another cue. And then I can come up with strength and stability. With square hips, I can start to come forward a little bit more. Continuing that action, that engagement, will keep you in that. Otherwise, you'll want to open right back up. So maintain that pulling back on your left. Placing your hands on your knee and start to have a slight back bend here. So you may just be staying up here, and that's totally fine. You're working a lot on your core by just staying, but if you'd like to add a little back bend here. And release. We'll lift our back heel, or back knee, step up. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold down. Let's place our hands on our hips, shoulder blades onto the back, elbows facing up, micro bend in the knees, come up with a flat back and come up really slow. And straighten out here. Hands to heart center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, flat back. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Step back, big step back, left foot. We're gonna come up into crescent lunge here. So the same action with our hips, we'll be pulling back on the right, pulling forward on the left, engaging our core, and inhale, rise. Let's bend our left knee. That'll bring my heel, my left heel, straight up to the sky. And now I want to keep that. So I'm going to shift my weight forward as I straighten my leg, keeping my heel up to the sky. Inhale. And let go. Thinking about this action on your right hip as well, pulling back. Another inhale and release. Step up. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold over. Step back with our right foot. Again, scissoring, this time left coming back. Pelvic floor lifts, core engages, and we'll rise on an inhale. Let's bend our back leg, heel up to the sky, straighten, coming forward. Inhale here. Engagement in the core. One more. And release down. Big step up. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Let's come all the way up. And hands to heart center. Another inhale. And release. Finding that strong mountain pose again, so everything engaged. Inhale. And release. Arms up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back with our left foot. This time let's spin our back heel down. Really gonna connect to that outer edge of our heel. My front heel will be dissecting my back foot. I'm gonna come up. I'm sinking into my right knee. I want a 90-degree angle or going towards a 90-degree angle. Definitely may not be there today. But I don't want it past that. I don't want my knee coming over my heel. So make sure that you're spread far enough for that. So here are the things to look for. I don't want my knee, it'll want to come in. I want it to track over my big toe and my second toe. So you want to push that out and really think about that engagement. And if you're engaging your glutes, that's what's pulling that leg back. So you're not just sinking here, you're engaging and pulling back. So you're low here. On the back foot, you're strong and straight. I'm trying to keep that arch by connecting my back outer foot. It was hard to come out. By connecting my back outer foot. My arms are straight and strong, pointing out in both directions. My shoulders are over my hips. It's a tendency once we get our arms out to want to go forward. You know, we're just moving in that direction. But I want to be over my hips. So check that. Let's flip our hands over up towards the sky, bend our elbows. Roll your shoulder blades onto your back. Flip our hands back over and straighten back out. Look forward, belly in, inhale. And exhale, release. Inhale, and we'll come up, straighten your front foot. Let's turn it in, and we'll switch sides. So we'll keep the same distance in our legs. We'll just try the other side here. So let's start to bend in our left leg now. Let's check out that knee first. Let's make sure that our knee is not going over our heel. So sometimes if we have too short of a stance, we'll be like this, and that's not safe. So make sure that your stance is wide enough. And now make sure that your knee's not wanting to track in. We want to push it out. And to help push it out, if we flex our left glute, that'll help keep that, anchor it back. On our back leg, we want to have a little bit of an arch and connecting through the back edge of the foot. Belly in, core lifted, arms out, not coming forward, but shoulders over the hips. Let's flip our hands again, bend our elbows, roll our shoulder blades onto our back, chest lifted. Turn them back over, flip them back out, and take a couple breaths here. So inhale, and exhale. Maybe you can sink a little bit lower. Inhale, release, and inhale up. We'll go back to the right side. So we'll keep our legs where we are. We're going to have our arms out like we just did in Warrior Two. And this time we will start to reach. And as we reach forward, we're gonna pull back on our right hip. You can have a bend in your knee too. Let's start with a bend in your knee. If you'd like to straighten it, then you can, but I'll show it with a bend in my knee. Protect the back of your knee. So I'm leaning forward as far as I can, as if somebody's pulling my finger. And then when I can't go any farther, I'm going to start to reach down. So this is a good place for a block. If you have a big book, something sturdy, you can place your hand also on your leg. So I'll place it on my leg today. And I'm gonna keep my knee bent here. Now we're gonna turn our chest towards the sky. Raise your left hand up. And see how my bottom arm, my right arm, it tends to go in, my shoulder. We're gonna do that same action as we were doing when our hands were like this. It's that same action. When we roll our shoulder blades back and look up towards our top hand. So triangle pose, Trikanasana. So really trying to shine our chest open, and this helps me sometimes too. You can place your left hand on your heart and kind of help turn your chest towards the sky. Another inhale. Release. Let's put a bend in our front knee. We'll come into Warrior Two. We'll inhale here. And release. And we'll inhale, and we'll switch sides. So let's turn to the other side here. Arms back out, straight and strong. This is one thing that I tend to forget to do, is really to keep my upper body strong. I'm thinking so much about making everything right in my lower body. You have to remember that this is a full body pose here. So, as I start to tip forward, like a little teapot, I'm pushing my hips back, pulling my left hip back. I'll put a bend in my knee. As I'm reaching forward and someone's pulling my finger, and then start to come down to wherever you can feel safely touch the earth, a block. Right arm up. Again, we're rolling our shoulder blades onto our back and starting to twist towards the sky. So you can try to encourage your chest to open here. Looking up. So it's almost a feeling as well as being like in between two planes of glass. And when you're starting, you may be like this. It's just may be the way it is. But know that the feeling that you're looking for is a leaning back feeling, as if you were leaning back onto a wall. So that can be created by pushing your hips forward, and that can help to encourage that. Let's inhale, put a bend in our left knee for one breath. And we'll inhale, come up. Let's face the front of our mat again, and we'll just step back up here. Let's separate our feet wide and just come into a forward fold. Release your head and neck. You can shift your weight on one side and the other and kind of release your hips. Let's take a twist here real quick, just because we've kind of worked our hips now. Place your right hand underneath your gaze, bend your right leg deeply, and twist open to the left. This really gets into this left hip. Feels nice. Go ahead and just fold over again, and we'll do that on the other side. So left hand beneath your gaze, bend in your left knee, open up. And release. Good. Let's work on chair pose. This is one of my least favorite poses, which is why I should be doing more of it. So I'm gonna show it to you all. Maybe we can share in our dislike for it, but it's so good for us. Okay, let's start bringing your toes together, and let's have our heels about 1 inch or 2 apart, something like that. So we're just a little bit turned in, not much. We're going to start to put a bend in our knees, and instead of coming forward with our knees this way, we're going to be sitting our hips back. So start to come down, sitting down, arms up, and we're sitting back. Now I'm not coming forward here. Again, I'm sitting back into a chair, lifting my pelvic floor, lifting my belly in, rolling my shoulder blades onto my back. I'm really squeezing my knees together here against each other. That helps. Breathing also helps. See how my shoulders want to go up by my ears? I have to constantly remind myself to put them back, so it's the same opening. And sometimes it even helps if you can do like the cactus arms. That'll kind of help you get that, and then straighten. So you can go to cactus arms, and then we'll straighten. One more inhale. Let's fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. See, isn't it your favorite as well? And fold. And it's so good, it's so good. Okay, this time let's bend our knees. Last time we came in from it standing, let's come into it this way. So we're in forward fold. Our feet are in the same position because we haven't moved them. And we'll start to sit back into a chair here. My belly's on my thighs. I'm gonna put my arms forward, get them away from my ears, my shoulders, and then I'm gonna start to lift my upper body. Belly in, knees pressing towards each other. Let's inhale, cactus arms, look up, and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, let's come down to the ground. So we're building a lot of heat. Can you feel in those standing postures, start to move some energy in your body and heart rate comes up. So we're coming back to breath, always checking back in with the breath. So let's just take a moment here in Trikanasana with your feet together and come back to our breath. So you can be sitting with your hands in front on your feet here, or you can also place your hands behind you and help push the ground away, and that'll push your chest out. Just take a few moments here, noticing the vibrations and some of the endorphins that you released. And go ahead and bow forward. Give it a stretch into your back. Coming back up. Let's do a couple core exercises. Another crowd pleaser. Let's bring our heels in about a foot and a half. So my belly's touching my thighs. I'm gonna pull behind my thighs, pull my chest up, back, and I'm gonna start to tilt. Boat pose, Navasana. You can stay right here. You want your chest lifted. So as soon as you start going concave, then that's, then you'll need to go back to the last stop you were in. So right now I have good posture, good positioning. I can release my hands and I can stay here. My foot's cramping. You can straighten one leg, switch, or you can bring them both up. Wherever you are, one inhale and exhale, release. Come back into Trikanasana. Fold forward. Come up. Take that another time. Hands behind your thighs, chest lifts, and come into your version of boat. And exhale. Inhale. Release. Chest lifted, heart lifted. And release and come down onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. And we'll do one more core exercise here. So I want to bring my legs to 90 degrees. I'm going to place my hands on my knees. I'm going to flex my feet towards me. And then I'm going to push my knees. This is hard to see, but it's more energetic. I'm gonna press my knees into my hands and my hands into my knees. So I'm gonna press my lower back down and engage all of my core. So hold, really pressing my knees into my hands, hands into my knees. My lower back's coming down onto the ground. Another inhale and release. Pull your knees into your chest, side. Rock side to side. And we'll do that little ditty one more time. For the count of 5. So really press in here. So we're using that polarity. We're pressing in from both opposing sides here. All right, knees 90 degrees, legs 90 degrees, feet coming back. And press for 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's place our feet as wide as our mat. Let your knees fall in. You can start to windshield wiper them side to side. And get into the outer hips here. Resetting your sacrum. We'll take a bridge pose, get some back, a little bit of back strengthening. So I'm bringing my heels in towards my glutes, close enough so that I can grab my ankles, or I can touch my ankles at least. Just rolled my shoulder blades onto my back, and I'm going to start to lift my hips. I have my hips lifted enough to get my hands clasped underneath. Sometimes some people won't be able to do this, but you can leave your hands on your ankles if that's the case. So I've clasped my hands here, and I'm gonna move one shoulder under, the other shoulder under, pushing away with my arms and lifting my hips. And breathing. See that my chin is going towards my chest? It's not what I want. I want to open it up a little bit so I could put an orange, hold an orange right there. I'll be protecting my neck. Don't want my knees to flay out either. They don't need to be touching, but they need to be parallel. Something to help that is you can turn your toes just slightly in. Another inhale. And release. Bring your shoulder blades out. You can come up onto your tiptoes and roll your spine down. And again, instead of the urge to bring your knees to your chest, go ahead and open your feet wide, let them fall into center and windshield wiper them. I always like to do this first. And then bring my knees in for a counter pose. All right, you all. Well, I hope that got you warm, got some muscle action happening for you. And thank you for coming and practicing. These things get easier and easier the more that you're in these postures, and you'll start to remember the cues and just slowly building strength. I think that yoga is one of the things that so quickly I notice a change in myself and notice how much stronger I'm getting. Like from day one, and then, a few weeks later, like, oh, well, this pose that I was shaking in is just really, it's happening for me now. So really be aware and think about that and watch your own progress. And again, thanks for practicing with me. Cole Chance at YOGATX. Think about visualizing that. Your shoulder blades coming together onto your back, chin up, sternum going towards the ceiling here. Exhale, we're gonna round. So bring your elbows together, tuck your chin as you start to curl your back. This should light up the muscles going on either side of your spine here. So you can control the intensity. So if you need to not go as far, this can be intense. Inhale.